Let's put that there, please and thank you. And then let's play the rest of our field. Right, these can now chump block and we can attack with Beanstalk Giant just for the life gain. Lethal in 2. Woo! We stabilized. That was close. And the importance of having a little bit of life gain in your sideboard. Hey everybody, welcome back, and thanks for taking some time out of your day to watch Hello Good Game. You know what I always say, if you can't beat them, join them. Lucky Clover is everywhere. I don't know how to escape this card. So we've made our own Clover deck, and this deck specifically handles the mirror matchup very well. We went 5-0 within Mythic, a 100% win rate, and now I can already hear you guys in the comments, this is not a sufficient sample size. Yes, I understand that, but when we're making 2 new videos for you guys every single day, I don't have time to get 100 matches. I barely have time, to get 5 to 10 in for you. So my apologies, I understand, but do bear with me as YouTube loves the clickbait. And it's not like it's unfounded clickbait. We did go 5 in a row. I have the untap.gg for you here. We have 2 versions of the deck. Once we edited it, we did do 100%, as you see here in version 2. We just adjusted the sideboard a little bit. There was no changes, and there you go, going 5-0. Generally, the matches are pretty quick, about 5 to 12 minutes, so nothing long, no 20-30 minute matches for us here. And yeah, we did lose against a Gruul aggro before we made our sideboard changes. And those changes were just putting in Ugin, which was a great field wipe. I don't know how I didn't have Ugin in there to start. And then an additional escape into the wilds just for a little added value. And you can see, with both versions of the deck, 86%. With our last version, 100%, 5-0 within Mythic, 88% to 91%. So we're going to continue to play this deck, continue to exercise the strength of Lucky Clover on our opponents. And now I mentioned how this deck is incredible in the mirror matchup. Boom, Embereth Shieldbreaker ×4, Battle Display, Sorcery Adventure, which means it is copied by your Clover, destroy target artifact. Now typically we don't want to mainboard a lot of artifact destruction. However, Clover has got to be 60% of the meta right now, at least. Plus, we've got things like Stonecoil Serpent, which are still in play. Solemn Simulacrum, which we see sometimes as well. Annex is an artifact creature. The list goes on and on. So, Embereth Shieldbreaker, the Battle Display, very, very good. Not only in the mirror matchups, but, in quite a few matchups within the meta. I do have to recommend you guys subscribe to the channel. Boom, right here. Go ahead and join as well if you like any of the content and you want to help support me. And check out some of our playlists, right? We've got it all covered. Historic, Brawl, Drafts, beginner guides, free to play, yada, yada, yada. So subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon, join if you want. Huge shout out to all our financial support. As always, we take a look at the deck list in its entirety, breaking down each individual card. Then we're going to talk strategies and synergies. How do all of these cards come together to form a really coherent and strong, well-working archetype? Then we're going to look at some gameplay footage where we break down all of the interactions and playlines within the standard 2021 meta. It's not enough to know solely how your deck works. You need to know how it works against the rest of the decks in the environment as well. Finally, we have my closing thoughts, which I've begun to try to convert into like a little bit of a blog style section just to close up our videos, 5 to 10 minutes of what's going on with my day, news with the channel, along with our free-to-play upgrade guides that we have and our general deck suggestions, common misplays, just general shenanigans like that. So if you do find any value within this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and share the channel out to a friend. Stop it is one of the sayings I use when I am, a little bit frustrated with my opponent. And within the last week, I've been extremely frustrated with Lucky Clover. So that's what drove us to make some new Clover decks for you guys, because I see a lot of people playing it. It's very strong after the bans. There's no Teferi to bounce it anymore. It's great. So The deck list starts out, of course, with 4 copies of Edgewall Innkeeper. This is a must-have in any green adventure deck. It's a 1/1, and whenever you cast a creature spell that has adventure, draw a card. It doesn't have to have gone into exile first, so you don't have to cast the instant or sorcery first. You can go straight into the creature if you want for said draw, and it's when it's cast. So as soon as it leaves your hand, you're drawing a card. You know, a lot of these effects are when it enters the battlefield. So the Edgewall Innkeeper is very nice for that reason there. Of course, we've got 4 copies of Lucky Clover, our first 2-drop. An artifact, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery adventure, you get to copy it. You may choose new targets for that copy. First things first, this is a colorless artifact. It dodges Ugin's Minus, right? That in itself is very, very powerful, and why the new adventure decks are doing so well, because we've seen an influx of Ugin Minuses just slaying everything, but not anymore. It does not take much. You know, you got your Lucky Clovers in play, you've got Bonecrusher Giant in hand, Ugin Minuses, slap him in the mouth, he's gone, and you progress forward from there. We talked about the Embereth Shieldbreaker already. Battle Display for 1 at sorcery speed, destroy target artifact, and then the creature is a 2/1. Fae of Wishes ×3, a 1/4 with flying. We can pay 2 at instant speed, discard Fae of Wishes, discard 2 cards and return Fae of Wishes into your hand. You know, she also has Granted at sorcery speed for 4. You may choose a non-creature card you own from outside the game, reveal it, and put it into your hand. We are playing best of 1, and Fae of Wishes is, in my opinion, absolutely broken in best of 1. And then we add to it using Lucky Clover, so it's a duplicatable ability, which is even more busto. And then you'll see our sideboard, 15 perfect utility cards here to deal with our opponents at ease. And when you're able to pull one of them, yeah, okay, that's a decent play, 1 for 1, but you got to pick what card you pulled. Still good value. You've got a Clover, you're copying it. You got 2 Clovers, you're pulling 3, 4 copies of specific cards from your sideboard. Busted, absolutely broken. People will concede when you play Granted on top of a Clover. Anywho, into our 3-drops, Brazen Borrower. This is a 3/1 with flash and flying, so we can play it on our opponent's end step, which is pretty nice for that instant attack. You know, it's great after the field wipes, after an Ugin Minus, just immediately after, and now you can attack more. Brazen Borrower can't block any creatures unless they have flying, so that's the only downside there. But again, this is not a blocker. This is an aggressive creature that's meant to attack. Petty Theft for 2 at instant speed, one of my favorite abilities on a card right now, and almost most hated as well. Return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. This is not the greatest in mirror matchups unless you're bouncing the Clovers. Try not to bounce any creatures with adventure. That's going to give them more value, which they do not need. But in any other matchup, oh lord. Normally, the tempo play for 2 is really, really good. You start copying that with your Clover. Again, a similar theme to the whole deck. We're taking spells that are good and we're making them absolutely insanely busted. The same goes for Bonecrusher Giant. Now, as a creature, this is a 4/3, and whenever it becomes a target of a spell, it will deal 2 damage to that spell's controller. It has Stomp at instant speed as its adventure, dealing 2 damage to any target, and damage can't be prevented for the turn. Again, 2-3 Clovers on field, you're going to do 6-8 damage with a single Stomp. Oh! Right? This is just psycho. 4 copies of Lovestruck Beast. This is a 5/5, and it can't attack unless you control a 1/1. It can still block, so this is an amazing creature against some of those aggro decks. He just sits in the way, and they can't attack anymore. Heart's Desire for 1 at sorcery speed. Create a 1/1 white human creature token. Yes, please. We have 3 copies of Escaped to the Wilds for 5 sorcery speed. Exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may play cards exiled this way until the end of your next turn, and you may play an additional land this turn. So a little bit of ramp, an amazing draw engine, and the fact that it costs 5 isn't any worry because we get access to those cards next turn. And yeah, that's a really cool way to just light the fire underneath of this adventure deck. Of course, for 7, we have Beanstalk Giant. Now, Beanstalk Giant's power and toughness is equal to the number of lands that we control. It has Fertile Footsteps for 3 at sorcery speed as its adventure. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. Again, with Clover, if we have 2 copies of Clover, this Fertile Footsteps is a free cast because it pulls in a land untapped, and then each Clover will pull in a land untapped. So 2 Clovers, Fertile Footsteps is absolutely free get it out of your hand, pull those lands to the battlefield, and next turn you're going to be able to just have a little bit more explosive power due to all of your available mana. So Beanstalk Giant is absolutely amazing. We also have 2 copies of Shark Typhoon for 6, an enchantment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying, where X is that spell's converted mana cost, cycling for 2 plus X. So, we could cycle it for 2 and we don't get a shark. We just get the cycle effect where we discard it and draw. Or we could add to our mana pool there, increasing the X from 0 away to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever we want to create that strong of a shark. And when you cycle Shark Typhoon, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying. That's kind of what we just explained. This is a great card because of all the instances and sorceries within the deck. It's also amazing to cycle it, as that's just good in any deck, in my opinion. These spells are accompanied by 3 islands, 3 mountains, 5 forests, 2 Temple of Epiphanies, 2 Temple of Badons, 2 Temple of Mysteries, 4 Ketria Triomes, and 3 Fabled Passages. I talked about Fae of Wishes, so you know we're rocking the sideboard. A single copy of Unsummon, instant speed for 1, return target creature to its owner's hand, Shadow Sphere also for 1, an artifact. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has trample and lifelink. We can pay 1 permanent your opponent control, lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. The equip cost is 2. Soul Guide Lantern also for 1. When it enters the battlefield, exile target card from a graveyard. We can tap it to sacrifice it, exile each opponent's graveyard, and we can pay 1 and tap it to sacrifice it, and drawing ourselves a card by doing so. Return to Nature, single copy here for 2 instant speed. Choose 1, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or exile target card from a graveyard. Mythos of a Luna, sorcery speed, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. If Gruul mana was spent to cast this, instead create a copy of that creature or permanent, and this permanent will fight a target creature that we do not control, if it was a creature. A single Song of Creation for 4 enchantment. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever you cast a spell, draw 2 cards. At the beginning of your end step, discard your hand. An additional Escape to the Wilds. We do have this main board, so we're not going to talk about that. 1 Sublime Epiphany for 6 instant speed. Choose 1 or more. Counter target spell. Counter target activated or triggered ability. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. And then target player draws a card. So there's a lot going on with the Epiphany. A single copy of Embercleave for 6 flash. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature we control. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has double strike and trample, and then once it's already on the field, it will cost 3 to equip it organically. Kyora, the Best Sea God. This is an enchantment saga. On the entrance of it to the battlefield, create an 8/8 Kraken with hexproof. On the following upkeep, tap all non-land permanents target opponent controls. They don't untap during the controller's next untap step. And then on the final upkeep, gain control of target permanent and opponent controls. So woof, right? 2 copies of Ugin the Spirit Dragon. We play 2 in case he deals with the first. For 7 loyalty, it comes in. +2 ability, dealing 3 damage to any target. -X, exiling each permanent with converted mana cost X or less. -10. You gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, then put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand into the battlefield. Woof. Single copy of Great Henge for 9. It costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. We've got the Giant, so this is going to, come into the battlefield for 2. Easy peasy. We can tap it to add 2 green mana and gain 2 life. And whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under our control, put a +1/+1 on it and draw a card. A single copy of Thassa's Intervention. This is a 2 blue +X cost spell, instant speed. Choose 1, look at the top X cards of your library, put up to 2 of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. Counter target spell unless its controller pays twice X. And then, of course, a single Castle of Ventress in case we want to throw a land out. That's the deck list. We're playing best of 1. I would say there's no sideboard because we're not playing traditional, but there is a full one. All the 1-ofs except for Ugin, a little insurance policy there in case they do deal with it via negate, something like this, right? That's the deck. Let's break down the strategies and synergies. Where to start? Push value. That is your main objective. Value, value, value. Our main value engines of the deck. Edgewall Innkeeper. Whenever you cast an adventure creature spell, draw a card. That's, most of our deck, right? You can cast Embereth Shieldbreaker if you know they don't have artifacts, right? Just get him in there. It's a great draw for 2. Lucky Clover. Again, this is doubling all of our sorceries and instances that are adventures. Most of the deck also consists of that. And then, of course, finally, we have Escape into the Wilds. This will draw us a bunch of cards, just a great ramp engine. I could go as far as classifying Fae of Wishes in the same category. However, this isn't necessarily a value engine within the deck because it relies on already having the Clover in play to become that engine. So organically, Fae not really an engine, but if you have Clover stacked, then Fae does become a pretty good engine. One card to draw 3s, great conversion. So those are our engines, right? Edgekeeper, Clover, Into the Wilds, and then if you have the Clover, Fae of Wishes to get into our sideboard here. With that being said, identify what deck you're playing against and then focus on, what shuts that down the best. If it's an aggro deck, for example, Lovestruck Beast is a 5/5. That's an amazing blocker. Beanstalk Giant, this is probably going to be at least a 7/7 when it enters the battlefield. Another great blocker. And then now that we've determined our opponent's playing an aggro deck, we might need some life gain. Let's go into our sideboard with Fae of Wishes, get Shadow Spear, and put it on one of these big bodies, right? This could be an 8/8, 9/9, 10/10, 11/11, whatever, with lifelink and trample. That's disgusting, right? So if it is some sort of damage-based deck, that's how I recommend you survive. Focus on your Lovestruck Beast, focus on your Beanstalk Giant, put life gain on them, and then you should be able to mitigate all of the damage that they're doing each turn while doing your own amount of damage. So unless they've got life gain too, to make a stalemate, then eventually you'll win that matchup. With that being said, if it's an aggro matchup, you can still stack your Clovers and stack your Giants to remove the majority of their creatures. Anything that's costing 2-3 bounce these instant speed with Petty Theft. He puts his Embercleave on a creature. No. Petty Theft, instant speed. Bye-bye, back to your hand. Shenanigans like that, just to kind of prolong the match, make it last longer until you can get some of those huge value engines going and running. If it's a mid-range deck, you probably want to, I would call it a ramp race, where you need to keep pace and progress with them. Ramp doesn't have probably a lot of creatures you're going to be removing, so I would prioritize keeping my Bonecrusher Giant until later, until we have the Lucky Clover stacked up, and those Giants will have a huge effectiveness, smashing our opponent. Again, race to Ugin. That's the name of the game, especially in the ramp situation or the mid-range matchups. Lucky Clover, Beanstalk Giant, Escape to the Wilds, Fae of Wishes, Ugin, right? The first Ugin played is often the winner. Again, if it is maybe a control matchup, now we want to just protect our value engines and get the kill in as quickly as we can. So in an aggro matchup, it's really easy just to have your opponent throw all their cards at you and they didn't do enough and now the match is over because they're top decking. The control matchups, you don't necessarily want to go long con with them and try to drain out the hand because they've got powerful spells throughout the game and especially those late game spells as well. So for this aspect, we want to try to play the control variant of the deck. And, it does come down to ramping, getting anything on the field, Fae of Wishes as always. And we're going aggro, so Embercleave. This is amazing, right? Get that in right away. If we've been ramping, we've got it on a Beanstalk Giant. That's a one-hit KO if Beanstalk Giant has an Embercleave, basically, right? GG RIP. It even works amazing on the Lovestruck Beast, the Brazen Borrower, the Bonecrusher Giant. Just get your cleave out and smash your opponent. That is my main objective against the control decks. And then again, get Ugin out. Just get him out. Get him out. You know what I mean? You may want to keep a counterspell. This is standard 2021, so there's no negate. But I mean, you could work with something to find a counterspell. I'm running Thassa's Intervention, counter target spell unless the controller pays twice X. We cast it for 3. They have to pay 2, and so on and so forth. It becomes more effective the more we put into it because of the doubling. Obviously, 1 doubled is only 2, but 2 doubled is 4, 3 doubled is 6. So you can see how it kind of scales into becoming more and more effective the later on in the game it is. Yeah, so like an aggro matchup, your main goal is to put out defenders, get life gain, survive, drain their hand, you win. In a mid-range matchup, first one to ramp to Ugin is probably going to win. In the control matchup, try to get that damage in. This means Bonecrusher Giants heavily, right? getting into your Embercleave as quickly as possible. Stuff like this, even a Sublime Epiphany would be pretty cool, as well as our intervention. You know, in control matchups, they have the field wipe, so potentially Great Henge is really cool. So you can get that value going again if they do wipe your creatures, because now you play a creature, you draw a card, right? And that just will restart those engines for you. If your opponent has anything that you need to deal with. Now, those were your main win cons for the different strategies that you're going to be coming in against. However, each of the decks is going to have different things for you to deal with. We do have the Shieldbreaker, which takes out artifacts. If you need to take out enchantments, Return to Nature is in the sideboard, as well as getting rid of cards from the graveyard. But we have the Lantern to get rid of graves. As well. Sorry about that. You know, big nice creatures that you want to fight, your Luna, or like crazy artifacts and enchantments that you just want a copy of. You know, that's always a cool choice there as well. You know, maybe they're playing Clover. You could take a copy of their Clover, right? And then Return to Nature it, or Shieldbreak it, right? So there's some really cool things we can do within the mirror matchup as far as disrupting our opponent's deck, which is great. Woof. So that is the deck tech, the strategies and synergies. We've covered each basic strategy against each of the different deck archetypes. Again, each deck archetype does kind of vary a little bit, and that's why we have the gameplay footage to get into now, so you can really realize and see firsthand how this deck is going to most efficiently engage with the other cards and decks in the environment within standard 2021 Mythic rank. Again, this deck went 5-0 after the sideboard adjustments. Before that, incorporating all of our matches, we went at 86%. So whichever way you look at it, this deck is a serious contender. And if you're looking to climb rank, you know, get those additional packs at the end of the season, maybe get into Mythic, push for the top 1200 so you get into the Mythic qualifier invitations. Check it out, try it out for the rest of the month. You're going to enjoy it. This deck is a great matchup against the mirrors, like I said, via all of the artifact destruction. So you're really going to enjoy within the current meta. I know I have. Thanks again for watching, you guys. Take care, enjoy this video, and we will be back soon with my closing thoughts. Land doesn't look good here, but we do have a Clover, so that equals a keep. And we pull a Forest here. It's more important to get to Escape to the Wilds than it is Fae. We also have our Shieldbreaker, if it's a mirror match, which it doesn't seem to be. Pulling that third land for Beanstalk Giant. Doesn't have to be next turn. It can be if it's tapped. But that's going to be a nice ramp engine for us. Bean into Wilds. Okay, our opponent maybe is playing Adventure. Who isn't? You know what I mean? Gilded Goose. Okay. Ah, no land. Alright, we get to take one more try for a pull. Good chances. 43% to draw land here on the top left of the screen. We've got a lot going on, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana available to him. Hopefully they dump it all into a huge Adventure Mutate? What kind of world have we fallen into here? This is interesting. I'm gonna smash it with the Giant. You think they have protection for 2? Man, that would suck. 3 mana available still. And it's totally all tapped. Okay, I'm blasting it. Yes, they get a good ramp, but we can bounce this Giant, and we've got our own. I can't let them Sterix onto it. They've got the land. It's just, it has to be dealt with right now. It's not fun. But, you know, dealing with the threats as they appear. Doing pretty good for only 3 mana. Our opponent's already on 4, 7, 8. This is still a match somehow. Right? That's crazy. That's a lot of land. And we definitely need to pull more land. Right? That 4th and 5th is important. Our opponent's still on 6. Mutates directly onto it. See, now that's why we got rid of that mutate stack. Need borrowers and stuff. Okay, we're looking for all that land now. This Sterix is gonna get nasty. We have an Ugin in our deck if we can get to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 2 more lands before this gets too psycho. Our Clovers stay with the Ugin minus, which is pretty nice. Let's see how crazy this gets though. A land, Heartless Act, Ram Throughs. They don't get much. Ram through 2 Heartless Acts. That's a good conversion for us. The Goose out, and they still have a Giant. So they're trying to top deck adventure spells to play on top of their Sterix. Just treasuring for life, or fooding for life, I guess. Instinctively, I still think of them as treasures. Treasures tap for mana or sacrifice for mana. Food sacrifices for land. I should know all this. Okay. We've got the chumps. And we just take the Sterix out the old-fashioned way, right? I don't think they expected that. Right? Now the Sterix is gone. We don't even have to deal with it. Another Clover. What would we do with it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do you not? It's massive. Quadruple sideboard action. I'll take one of you. I'll take one of you. I'll take the lands. And our last card. Whatever do we want? They've got a nice field. Let's take that Sea God too. Land and play, no attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know. We've got some stuff to play. A single Fae of Wishes ruins the game. Right? In best of 1. It's like, oh, here, have 2 to 4 cards out of your sideboard. You can pick what they are. Don't worry. They can all be your best cards. So we will be sacrificing, and they get a massive hit. Right? We get hit for 6 here. I mean, that'll be the last hit we take because of the Sea God. And then we'll take the mutate creature. So, I'm fine with that. The only thing is, if they can pull a mutate next turn, mutate onto it, our hexproof Sea God is actually sacrificed. So if we pull a land, we might just start out with a Ugin before we Sea God to get rid of the sacrifice demon. Hashtag nightmare. Look at that thing. Ooh, get back in your cave, bro. Good damage. There's 8 damage here that we could hit it with. Just straight up, right? And I feel like that's probably what we should do. I don't want to discard my hand, really. It gives us 4 mana. You know, let's get that Fae in play, and maybe we discard our Embereth Shieldbreakers to get back into the sideboard. Two, 4, 6, and 8. Let's get the creature in play. This game's over. They pull the land. So sad. An 11/11 is pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. Creates the food token. Gains the life. No attacks. We can chump block this 11/11. There's no Embercleave within Golgari colors. There could be trample, but again, I think we're set up at a fairly good position just to double block or something. I respect our opponent dragging out matches as long as possible against Clover players, making them work for it. No cards in hand, so we could just take it if we wanted to. Our opponent completely taps. We are pulling out 4 lands untapped into play here. Psycho. Alright, that's so good. Oh, by golly. I kind of want to get back into the sideboard, but this would cost 2 and then 4 more, which would be 6. Plus we want to cleave for 6, which would be 12, which we don't have enough mana for. Let's just get these giants out so we can hammer down next turn. Untap it, please and thank you. We actually didn't get anything good at all. Good game. Still had 30 cards left in our library too. Wow. Opponent goes first. Bummer. Mono red. No, 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 no. Okay, okay, okay. We got some giants in play for you, Mr. Red deck. Just don't play Annex. I'm gonna stomp these fools. Oh, he's going for it. Woo! That's hot. Bolt Hound. Wow. Now they all go up. We need Shadow Spear from the sideboard for life gain. I think we just chump block here. Fuck! Nice. We're in trouble here. We have to borrow on Embercleave equip. Or whatever he does. Whatever they do. Bolthound representing. For a reason. We still have Petty Theft. Champion goes back. Copy it on the token. Can replay the champion, but attack phase is over. Successfully dealing with Annex. We need to come back from this. Something like a Torbrand in hand would be really bad. Make the double tokens, which is great for the chump blocks. Oh, we should have grabbed the double land with the giant. That's on us. Oh well. This still works. Right, we could have spent 3 and gone back up to 4. And then spent that 4 again. Another Annex. Come on. That's crazy. We're taking Unsummon. And Shadow Spear. Shadow Spear goes on the Lovestruck Beast for life gain. The Unsummon bounces Annex. And we block the giant. We still get hit. Looking for land. We get to pull 2 untapped. Whoops, I actually did that math wrong. Because this costs 2, which only leaves us 1 mana. A weird play that we have to do because of our miscount, but we still have blockers. As long as there's no haste. And there's not, we're good. That'll give us the Giant. The attacks will just result in death. Lands go. The Giant comes out as an additional blocker for Annex, and then we can Shadow Spear next turn on the Giant. Took us long enough to get there, and we are low on health, right? Like, I'm worried just about burn damage. We're good to go next turn. It's a land, perfect. Let's put that there, please and thank you. And then let's play the rest of our field. Right, these can now chump block and we can attack with Beanstalk Giant. Just for the life gain. Lethal in 2. Woo! We stabilized. That was close. And the importance of having a little bit of life gain in your sideboard. We still have the appropriate blocks. Both Faes die. So does the Annex and the dog. And both Giants. But lethal. In hand. Good game. Let's just take it. Be a gentleman. Down to 3. Back up to 23. We go first. Let's toss this. Look for better land. This doesn't seem bad. Looking for a mountain. Which we can get through the Beanstalk Giant. Nice. Keep 6. Toss the Wilds. Keep the Borrower. Sadly. Toss the Borrower. I love the Borrower. So for me to throw it is weird. Not that weird, though. We'll take a second off the top. Scorpion, gross. So we go 3, 4, 5 next turn into our wilds. Stop it. We're being greedy. Ooh, the vessel. Interesting. Taking the scry after, right? Because we'll have to shuffle. One of each. Plus our scry. We're totally set on land. Ooh, Shark Typhoon. I'll keep that. It's kind of kind of flavorful. Pass our turn. We have a triple Brazen Borrower bounce available now through Petty Theft. They have lots of 1-drops, so it's not really that great, but I think I'll just take the 3 damage. You just play Luris. Annoying. Shark Typhoon's tempting, but let's keep it for a cycle. Nice flash blocker. We need a forest here. Let's make a ton of 1/1s. Do we keep our Petty Theft available? Probably. Worst case, we cycle our Typhoon. Let's just hit the bounce. They could, you know, sack one for the draw. Hopefully we pull another Borrower soon for the Archfiend Vessels 5/5 flyer. Yeah, Vigil. Sack for the draw, that's kind of what I was thinking. That's their whole attack though, Luris is fine. We'll just pull a Giant and stomp it out of Oblivion. Here's the 5/5. That is annoying. We got the Shark Typhoon, I guess. Now we need 3, right? So that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4 left. Take our draw. And play this for free. Oh, if we have that much basic land, yeah, we do. Luckily, we still have the 1 islands untapped. No Brazen Borrowers either. Kind of weird. Still sitting on 4. Oh, and we needed the double for the flash, which is a bummer. We could cycle in for 2 just as a chump blocker, I guess. So we may as well just cycle in for 1, which costs 3. And make these 1/1s. Could take the draw, but I think it's better to stop that attack. What did we lose? Oh, Shark Typhoon. Mire Trident for the mill helps Luris. Croxa, another Mire Trident. Okay, so we cycle now. For 1. We have to discard whatever we get. Oh no! We should have left it. That Bonecrusher Giant is just so good for us. Bummer. Let's thin our library of land. We need some good draws here. Okay, okay, okay. Let's do this right now. Killing 3 of their creatures. And we have a blocker for the 5/5. And we'll take the double draw. Perfect. This is like really good. I'm gonna keep this Edgewall Innkeeper in hand in case there's like some sort of field wipe. Actually, hitting for 11, 12. That's a good hit. So it's cool to just kind of like prolong the game, stay alive as long as you can, just kind of pile in that value. That's why we don't mind chump blocking, even though we lose the interaction, basically. Ooh, nice. Lure's back in play. Toss the Triome, take the damage. Chump blocker. Stop it. I think we just hit the person, right? This is game. We bounce all 3 of the things, including this token, so it's gone forever now, finally. And then we have a huge hit, plus a giant to smash. Just woof! This is an unorthodox hand, 2 Faes without, you know, much to back it up. We can keep it. Scrying for a Clover. We have our Beanstalk Giant at least. Without a Clover in hand, it's about 7.5%. It's not big. Just looking for Clover. In against Gruul. Oh no, more adventure. Beautiful. Beautiful. What a sight to see. We need to avoid a Shieldbreaker on their behalf. Hopefully, Noah's really playing that yet. Nice. I need to stomp off the top. Just make some tokens. Pretty good chump blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 land out already. That helps. Let's get into our Fae. Shadow Spear. Okay. I guess that is good on the Rimrock Knight. The +1 defense. Goes for the draw instead. Wow. Crazy stuff. Nice. That's sorcery speed though. I should still do it. As long as I don't play a Clover immediately after that, I'm okay. Right, it would suck to kill a Spear when we had a copy, and then them just play another artifact. That'd be less than ideal. Terror, that's like really good. We will be bouncing that. I guess we will be bouncing everything. We're gonna take 3 damage. Let's try to trade. We get 5 free damage here from the Juke. It's better to take 2 damage than 4. We can still trade with the Innkeeper here. We have another Borrower to set them back another turn. I think the Bonecrusher can stay. And I think we could probably just Fae. Fellow adventure, how are you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, goodbye. Alrighty, we're on a tear here. Let's keep going and get into the top 1500 again. Not a great hand, no Clover, but we do have pretty decent land and semi-good utility. Hopefully it's just maybe a mono red deck. Ooh. Oh no. Hashtag mirror match. We're gonna stomp that Innkeeper out of existence. I don't think they run counters, do they? No. There's Clover. Petty thefts are annoying. Get the Giant in play. It's a bad bounce target for Petty Theft. Right, because they have to take 2 damage now, and then we get to re-stomp. If we can keep them from getting much value. Let's just go for it. Try to push further ahead. We only have one land to play next turn, so we're gonna let the Temple of Abandon go. Get our draw engine in play. Next turn we have an island into a Beanstalk Giant. The Lovestruck Beast has already been used, so that's in exile for us. They're all in exile, but the Lovestruck Beast will stay in exile. Land from exile, keeping hand advantage. I'm not sure what's going on here. Let's just keep ramping. Put this back into exile so we can use it later. Play our Lovestruck Beast for the draw, I guess. Where is this Clover, man? And we will just take an attack. Double Borrower. Sure. We want to save these giants for the Brazen Borrowers. They're pretty decent attackers. We have plenty of life. I don't think we need to prioritize keeping it. We don't have to discard now, which is nice. There is some more interaction. It could just be the Flash Flyer. Nice. Okay, wow. So this is one of the bummers about Brazen Borrower in the mirror matchup, is like there's just not enough going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess we just get rid of the mountains. We'll pull more land. There's lots going on here. But I feel like if we just take a turn off, we're still at 19. They can't cast Uro. They're sitting on these flyers, which doesn't really affect us. We can stomp and then, you know, make that Shark Typhoon out of that as well. We could basically block for 4, that means. Right, and we only need to do 1 damage to each of these, so we actually get to take out 2 of them. Flashing on top for the draw. We get the Innkeeper, Gonzoed. And, yeah, we get that blocker as well. Another petty theft. That's all 4 petty thefts. Wow. Woof. We need a Clover. Only 4. This will be 5. He needs another in exile. What if they draw a counterspell? I don't think they have counterspells. But we're not really gaining anything by holding it up. We know what's going down, so let's just take it. Borrower can't attack now, which is great. Uro can be played if another card goes in the grave, so he could attack, have us block, card goes to the grave, play Uro. That's game, and again, we are on a wicked tear. Alright, final thoughts. First things first, common misplays with this deck that you, as a new player to the Temur Clover scene, are going to want to avoid. Well, there's such thing as too much of a good thing too early. Playing the Edgewall Innkeeper on turn 1, yes, is beneficial. You get the draw engine going early. However, if your opponent has removal, you've basically just given them a card to remove. This is a bummer. You only have 4 of them, so we don't want it out of the game early. You could be better off. Now, this is keyword could, not always. This is going to be up to, you know, your specific field. Did they drop a red land, or like what's going on, right? Do they have Yorion as a commander, or is there like there's lots of different things that you're going to need to kind of feel out and determine whether your opponent will have immediate removal. When you're on the play, it's kind of harder. You just have to wing it. That's where sometimes I like to risk it for the biscuit and go for it. But if I'm on the draw and I see a red land, I'm not playing my Edgewall Innkeeper. Let me tell you what, I'm going to keep that in my hand until I know it's safe to come onto the battlefield a little later, and then I can play those adventure creatures on top of it, hopefully immediately, and get that value right away. So it's not just seeing removal, and then, you know, we begin to not draw any more engines, and then that's kind of how the game ends immediately right there via one shock. We can't have it, so, you know, be overprotective of your Edgewall Innkeeper. This is an important dude, and he needs your help to stay alive. You know, I see a lot of us maybe playing Shark Typhoon as the enchantment as well. Sometimes this is great, but for instance, playing the Shark Typhoon for 6 and having a Petty Theft bounce it for 2 is not okay. That is the epitome of a bad move and a common misplay. So really identify, again, what kind of deck your opponent's playing. Is it safe to get onto the field, or are you better off cycling it for the Shark? Maybe some more attack damage, maybe a chump blocker to help you survive, so your value engines can be amassed again. So yeah, it's really more of being played wrongly rather than, I guess that is what a misplay is, right? And it's not that the play is wrong, it just might not be as efficient as it could have been, and you're really trying to mitigate value that your opponent is trying to, you know, get on top of you. Common misplays. I think that's it. You could accidentally kill your own artifact with Shieldbreaker, but I doubt it. Maybe not pulling the correct cards from your sideboard for the specific interaction. I'm thinking maybe we could add a Storm's Wrath in here for a wipe, and then we're not always having to get to Ugin's Minus at 8. We could have a halfway house, you know, with Storm's Wrath wiping for 4. That could be pretty cool, potentially, and maybe we get rid of an Escape to the Wilds or Song of Creations. There's a lot of flavor in here that's not necessarily to shut our opponent down. It's just kind of like, look at us while out. So we could continue to fine-tune this sideboard to really put a chokehold on the meta so they can't do anything no matter what deck they're playing. That would be ideal, right? I think that's a great idea. Maybe there's a way that we can give our artifacts hexproof and protection. That would be nice as well. And then we're protected from our own mirror matches with the shield breakers. So as far as common misplay goes, I don't see a ton of them. Dropping your land, you know, with intention is going to be important because it is 3 color and all over the place. And again, holding the Edgewall Innkeeper so it doesn't get removed immediately. Maybe potentially playing your Bonecrusher Giant too early so it's not getting copied by our Clover, the same as your Petty Theft, right? You really want to make sure to get as much value out of those as you can. Stuff like this. It's hard to misplay a deck that's so good, right? If you feel like you're not great at the game, learn how to play Clover and you will feel like you're a god at the game, right? So thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. All of our financial support on Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube. You guys are incredible. I think we're up to, on all 3 platforms, about 50 members, average of like, what, $2 a month, $3 a month, right? So it's not a ton, but it is noticeable, and it does help, right? Kind of get your boy off the mac and cheese diet. He needs those beetroot crystals. You know, got to get hyped up. So We're waiting on better internet as well. This is kind of like our new vlog section where I share things that you don't care about. Waiting on new internet. It was supposed to be shipped out within 2 days. It's been 2 weeks, so I'm not sure what to make out of that. And a Canadian internet company is shipping equipment out of California. Makes sense, LOL. I asked them if they burnt down in the fires, and they're like, no, we're okay. We're just backlogged. So we're hoping to get a better connection, then the stream will be better. We did have a place to move into this fall, but it actually fell through, so we're maybe stuck here for the winter. I hope not, but regardless, we're just compounding work anyways. It's not that bad. It's just the internet that's annoying. So all good things. Really grateful for all the support. Not only the financial support that I mentioned, but everybody just with their time and attention. If you're watching this still, listening to me, thank you. I appreciate it, right? You guys you're spot on. Keep at it. Yeah, thanks for your time and attention. I really appreciate it, and we will see you all a little later. I'm live on YouTube every morning at 6 a.m. At 7 a.m. we switch to Twitch, and then we're back on YouTube at 6 p.m. all times Mountain Standard Central. So links for that is in the link tree description. You can find the appropriate socials and follow me on all of those. We got some other goodies hidden in there, but I'm not going to tell you about them. You have to find out for yourself. And then we talked today about the MTGA assistant a couple times. This assistant has got everything. It's so good. You can see my decks. You can see decks from the other top content creators. Metagame information, collection. It's too much to go through every day. So check it out. That is in the Overwolf link in the description below. Each download helps support your poorest creator. So again, thank you guys so much. We'll see you a little later. We'll talk to you in the Discord if you have any questions, concerns. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.